Hey there! So, Cardinal Luis Tagle, who's super popular in the Catholic Church, just dropped a bombshell of a statement that's got everyone buzzing. But is he actually in the running to become the next pope? In this video, we're gonna break down what's really going on with this announcement. Why is Cardinal Tagle the talk of the Vatican town? Could this mean big changes are coming for the Catholic Church? Stick with us as we dig into the juicy details and find out what this all really means. You won't want to miss this. Did you know that no cardinal from Asia has ever been seen as a serious contender for the papacy? But now, with Cardinal Luis Tagle, who's even been called the Asian Pope, things are looking different. A surprising statement from the Vatican has us all wondering if we're about to witness something historic. Just a few hours ago, Cardinal Tagle shocked the Catholic community with his announcement. This is a big moment for the Church. But what's really behind this mysterious statement? What's he trying to tell us? Could this hint at a major power shift within the Vatican? So, what makes Cardinal Tagle's words so special that they're sending ripples around the world? To get a better understanding, let's take a trip down memory lane and check out his inspiring journey from a simple parish priest in the Philippines to a key player in the Vatican. This journey holds the secret to what his declaration really means. Picture this: a young boy growing up in a humble family in a busy neighborhood in Manila. He wasn't born into luxury or privilege, just a kid who loved music and helped his mom sell stuff at the market. It was in those everyday moments that he learned about empathy and compassion. That boy was Luis Antonio Tagle. As a kid, Luis spent hours listening to the stories of people around him: vendors, rickshaw drivers, and elderly folks living in makeshift homes. Each tale was a lesson, and it was during those times that he realized he wanted to make a difference in the lives of those he cared about. After becoming a priest, Luis didn't chase after fame or power. He quietly served in struggling parishes, spending time with families who had lost hope, just listening and sharing in their struggles. People started calling him the Father of the Forgotten, a title he didn't seek, but it fit him perfectly. One memorable moment was when a poor family invited him over for dinner to thank him for his help. They only had rice and dried fish, but instead of just eating, Tagle shared stories from his life, creating a warm, family-like atmosphere. One of the kids at the table said, "Father feels like family to us." It was in moments like these that people felt Tagle truly understood what humility and compassion were all about. His journey continued with even more milestones. When he became a bishop, Luis Tagle believed that a great leader isn't someone who stands above others, but someone who knows how to lift others up. This mindset earned him respect in the Philippines and caught the attention of the global church. Then, in 2012, when he became a cardinal, he stepped onto the Vatican stage, but stayed true to his humble roots. He chose not to live in the fancy apartments reserved for cardinals and instead opted for a simple place. When speaking to crowds, he avoided complicated theological terms and instead told relatable stories about single mothers, orphaned kids, and the overlooked poor. With his genuine heart and sincerity, Luis Tagle became more than just a religious leader. He became a beacon of hope for millions. The poor in Manila, small communities in Asia, and Catholics around the world saw something special in him, a leader who never forgot where he came from. The story of how a humble Filipino boy became a leading contender for the papacy isn't about power or ambition. It's about a heart that listens and a soul dedicated to serving others. Cardinal Luis Tagle isn't just a potential pope. He's a symbol of a church filled with love and compassion. From a simple priest to a papal contender, he's a reminder of what it means to truly care for others. Every story Luis shared, was a lesson about life. In those simple moments, he realized he wanted to do something bigger, not just for himself, but to help the people he cared about. After he became a priest, Luis wasn't chasing quick promotions or fame. He chose to serve in poor parishes, often spending hours with families who had lost hope, just listening and sharing their pain. People started calling him the Father of the Forgotten, a title he never asked for, but it fit him perfectly. One of the most touching moments was when a struggling family invited him over for dinner to thank him for his support during a tough time. The meal was just some rice and dried fish. But Luis didn't just eat. He shared stories from his own life, making everyone feel like equals. One of the kids at the table said, "Father feels like family to us." It was in moments like these that folks said Tagle truly got what humility and compassion were all about. As he continued his journey and eventually became a bishop, Luis Tagle carried with him the belief that a great leader isn't someone who stands above everyone else, but someone who knows how to lift others up. This philosophy earned him a lot of respect in the Philippines and caught the attention of the global church. When he became a cardinal in 2012, he stepped onto the Vatican stage, but stayed true to his humble roots. He turned down the fancy apartments reserved for cardinals and chose a simpler place to live. When he spoke to crowds, he avoided complicated theological terms, instead sharing relatable stories about single moms, orphans, and the poor who often get overlooked by society. With his genuine heart and sincerity, Luis Tagle became more than just a religious figure. He became a beacon of hope for millions. The poor in Manila, small communities across Asia, and Catholic believers worldwide saw something special in him, a leader who never forgot where he came from. His journey from a humble Filipino boy to a serious contender for the papacy isn't about power or ambition. It's about a heart that listens and a soul dedicated to serving others. Cardinal Luis Tagle isn't just a potential pope. He's a symbol of a church filled with compassion and love. However, behind the ancient walls of the Vatican, where it seems like silence and sanctity rule, there's a different reality. A world of subtle power plays, hidden conflicts, and strategic moves in the battle for influence. Let's rewind a bit. When Pope Francis started pushing for reforms to make the church more connected to the poor and inclusive of marginalized folks, not everyone was on board. While many supported the changes, some conservative groups within the Vatican were worried that these reforms might threaten age-old traditions. That's when Luis Antonio Tagle's name started popping up, not just as a spiritual leader from the Philippines, but as a symbol of change. But with the spotlight came the reality of being a target in the Vatican's power struggles. One lesser-known story happened during a closed-door meeting of cardinals. A conservative cardinal straight up challenged Tagle, asking, "Do you think changing the church too quickly risks losing our roots?" Tagle didn't argue. Instead, he shared a story about a poor family he once met in Manila. He said, "If the church doesn't reach out to them, who will? If we cling to traditions while ignoring the suffering outside, are we really the Church of Christ?" His words left everyone in the room silent. But in that quiet moment, it was clear. Tagle wasn't someone who backed down under pressure. The tension didn't stop at private meetings. Tagle's influence grew to the point where people started to wonder if he could be the next pope, which stirred up quite a bit of tension in the Vatican. Some conservative factions were concerned that if Tagle took the lead, the church's traditional values might be at risk. A memorable moment came when Tagle spoke at a major church conference attended by leaders from all over the world. Instead of talking about power or ambition, he focused on the poor and the church's role in healing the world. In the crowd, some conservative cardinals watched him with suspicion. realizing he wasn't just speaking to them, but sending a message to millions of believers everywhere. Another story that highlighted the complex struggle happened when a reform decision made by Pope Francis was publicly opposed by a group of cardinals. When asked about the issue, Tagle didn't just defend the Pope. He really pushed for unity. He said, "We might not see eye to eye on everything, but we're all here to serve God. We need to figure out how to walk together instead of against each other." In the tricky world of religious politics, where every word gets twisted and turned, Tagle has always kept his cool. But that doesn't mean he shies away from tough conversations. Instead, he faces them head-on with compassion and wisdom. His supporters call him a bridge builder, someone who can connect groups that seem totally at odds. On the flip side, his critics see him as a threat, someone who might shake up the long-held traditions. Every time Tagle steps into the Vatican, the power struggle becomes more obvious. This isn't just about clashing ideas. It's about the future of the Catholic Church. Will the Church stick to the traditional values it has upheld for centuries, or will it adapt to fit the modern world? The answer depends on leaders like Tagle, who work hard for renewal while staying true to their faith. But this power struggle, whether it's in the open or behind the scenes, is definitely going to shape the Church's future in the coming years. Then came a shocking moment. A new era was about to kick off in a grand hall at the Vatican. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation. Cardinals, bishops, and religious leaders from all over the globe had gathered, but no one really knew they were about to see something historic as Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle walked up to the podium. The room went silent. Tagle started his speech with a warm, familiar tone. He shared a recent experience visiting a small village in Africa, where he saw families clinging to their faith despite tough times. He said, "I saw faces full of hope amid hardship, and I thought, what more can the Church do to not just listen, but really become the hands of God, making real change happen?" Then his voice got stronger. He paused, looked straight at the audience, and declared, "Our Church is at a point where silence just won't cut it anymore. This is a historic moment, a time when we have to transform, not just in words, but in action." His words hit the Vatican like a lightning bolt. Tagle's statement wasn't just a nudge for action, it was a bold declaration. Some people quickly realized he wasn't just talking about small changes. He was laying out a big new vision. After the speech, Catholic media outlets around the world started sharing the video, from Manila to Rome, from Africa to the Americas. Millions of believers began to wonder, could this be the start of a revolution in the Church? Not everyone's on board with this. Take Cardinal Tagle's message, for example. A bunch of conservative cardinals quickly got together for a private chat to figure out what his declaration really means. They were worried that his words might shake up the Church's core values. One guy in the group said, "If we change too fast, are we going to lose what makes the Church the Church?" On the flip side, Tagle's supporters jumped in to say, this isn't about ditching tradition. It's about bringing those values to life in a world that's changing. A young priest from Latin America pointed out, Cardinal Tagle's message isn't just about change. It's about putting the heart of the Church back where it belongs, with the suffering, the abandoned, and those who really need us. A few days following his significant declaration, Cardinal Tagle took the opportunity to engage in a thoughtful interview with a prominent newspaper, eager to clarify his recent remarks. As the conversation unfolded, the interviewer posed a question regarding the true essence of his speech, seeking to delve deeper into his intentions. With a warm and reassuring smile, Cardinal Tagle responded, "Let me be clear. I am not advocating for the dismantling of any institution or tradition. What I truly wish to convey is a gentle reminder to all of us that our primary mission has always been to serve others with compassion and dedication. However, we must also recognize that if the methods we employ in our service no longer resonate with the needs of the world around us, then it is our responsibility to adapt and evolve. This call for change is not for our own benefit or comfort, but rather for the sake of those we are called to love and support in our communities. Our commitment to service must always reflect the realities of the times we live in, ensuring that we remain relevant and effective in our mission of love and outreach. And that wasn't the end of it. His bold declaration reverberated through the entire Catholic community, creating ripples that reached far and wide, from everyday parishioners to the highest-ranking leaders within the church hierarchy. The implications of his words sparked a fervent dialogue about the need for reform, the importance of inclusivity, and the evolving role of the Church in the context of the 21st century. As discussions intensified, various factions within the community began to express their opinions with greater urgency and passion than ever before. Some observers speculated that this could very well be the initial step on Cardinal Tagle's journey toward potentially becoming the next pope. His progressive stance and willingness to engage with contemporary issues resonated with many, leading to whispers of a possible papal candidacy in the future. Meanwhile, others interpreted his message as a critical wake-up call for the Church, emphasizing that it must adapt to the changing cultural landscape or risk losing its relevance and influence in an increasingly secular world. This moment of reflection prompted a broader examination of the Church's teachings and practices, igniting debates about how to better connect with the faithful and address the pressing challenges of modern society. As conversations unfolded in parishes, seminaries, and ecclesiastical meetings, it became clear that the ramifications of his statement were far-reaching, touching on fundamental questions about the Church's mission and its ability to thrive in a rapidly changing world. One thing is abundantly clear. Cardinal Luis Tagle, with his eloquent yet unpretentious manner of speaking, has undoubtedly ushered in a significant new chapter in the history of the Catholic Church. His recent declaration has not only ignited a wave of excitement and discussion within the walls of the Vatican, but has also prompted a much larger and more profound question for each one of us. Are we truly prepared for a church that prioritizes action, compassion, and genuine transformation? As we stand on the brink of what appears to be a new era, it is evident that the eyes of the world are keenly focused on Cardinal Tagle. His words resonate deeply, suggesting a departure from traditional norms and an embrace of a more dynamic and engaged approach to faith and community. The implications of his message extend far beyond the Vatican. They challenge us to reflect on the role of the Church in our lives and in society at large. This moment invites us to consider what it means to be part of a faith community that is not merely passive, but actively seeks to make a difference in the lives of individuals and the broader world. Are we ready to embrace a vision of the Church that is rooted in love, service, and a commitment to social justice? As Cardinal Tagle's influence continues to unfold, it becomes increasingly clear that the future of the Catholic Church may very well depend on our collective willingness to engage with these ideals. The anticipation surrounding his leadership is palpable, and many are eager to see how this transformative vision will manifest in the days to come. So, has he officially become the new pope? Not yet, but his powerful declaration is a clear sign that he's going to play a big role in the Church's future. A new era could be just around the corner, and Cardinal Tagle is definitely going to be a key player in shaping it. We'd love to hear what you think. What's your take on the possibility of Cardinal Tagle becoming the next pope? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time.